Breaking news, Eli Lilly's Zepbound shortage and Mounjaro shortage. I've got breaking news for you. I just got off Eli Lilly's Q1 investor call, which I will link down in the description link below. It literally just ended. I was on the call, took copious notes. I'm going to break it down from my understanding. First and foremost, are the Zepbound vials going to be released? We've been talking about those. And on today's video, we're going to go through Mounjaro and Zepbound pricing. It's going to be a long video, but stay tuned till the end because there's a lot of meat in this video. Pricing, what's happening with tirzepatide in terms of other comorbidities getting approved. That was very intriguing. Talking about 6 new obesity drugs in development. That was probably one of my favorite parts. I literally had goosebumps. We're going to talk about that. Supply and demand, talking about alleviating the shortage. What is happening with the shortage? Zepbound vials. Their competitor, WEGOVY. What's happening with that in terms of Novo Nordisk versus Mounjaro, which is for type 2 diabetes, but WEGOVY for Zepbound, both for chronic obesity management, and what's coming in the pipeline. So let's dive in. First and foremost, the most breaking question that I know you guys have been asking me. By the way, if you guys don't know who I am, I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I've lost over 85 pounds on the last almost 16 months of being on Mounjaro and Zepbound now because of the Mounjaro shortage. So we were on the call and I kept waiting for talking about the Zepbound vials being released. Here's a picture of it that was added to the FDA PDF. I'll link all of my sources down below that I'm talking about in this video because I demand of myself to be factually accurate. So I'll link all of those down in the more section here on YouTube. It's in the description. You may have to click more twice to see all the full list of them, which will be down in here. So that vial, that picture I just showed you was from the PDF on the FDA from Eli Lilly updating because our shortage of Zepbound and Mounjaro shortage is because of the pens. And so we, meaning the GLP-1 community, was hoping that these Zepbound vials, and I said it was going to be released. I was wrong, in fact. They did not touch on that actually at all. They touched on some other things that we're going to talk about a lot with the supply and demand, Eli Lilly's plan of action with this. So let's go ahead and dive in. Straight off the gate, no Zepbound vials are being released. What was specifically said on that call, which I will also link down below. And this video is going to be a long one. If you just want the Cliff Notes version, I will put a blog post coming up on countessofshopping.com, and my email list will also immediately get that before anyone else does. So make sure you sign up for my email list, which is also on countessofshopping.com, my blog for all things GLP-1 medication related. So talking about supply and demand on this call on Eli Lilly's Q1 investor call today, April 30th, 2024. It was at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm filming this at 11:11. Make a wish. Supply and demand. So meaning, when is this shortage going to end? Straight from the horse's mouth, Eli Lilly representative said on the call, it's going to be 2025 come closer together, where supply and demand are going to come closer together. They did not say specifically Q1 in 2025. They said 2025. So to give you proper expectations about when this pressure cooker is going to be released, we're in the new year. We're already into, they're saying 2025, it will come closer together. It's going to be tight. They said, Eli Lilly said, it is not a production issue, and I quote, it is proud of how they're progressing. Sites are working 24/7, meaning the manufacturing of this is 24/7. Construction for the new facilities is overnight. They just acquired a new facility. She said, and this is what I have been telling you all along, the villain is not Hollywood stealing your medication. It's people in Kansas or the Midwest farmers who are taking this. It's the housewives taking this. It's executive taking this across the board. And that's my Elizabeth Countess of Shopping interpretation. What Eli Lilly said was, quote, demand is strong. Demand is strong, not surprised because of the health benefits. They'll continue through the year and add more supply with blank and quick pen. Now, I couldn't hear on the call what the blank was. So I'm going to go back and redo that. I will update it on my Countess of Shopping blog as well with that information on there. But it says demand is going to outpace this year. You may say, Elizabeth, what is a quick pen? Well, I had to Google that because we don't have that in the US. That was started over in the UK. And you can see it's the pen, it's the one on the bottom, second row, two over. It was the second row, two over right here. It's a different pen. These are US pens that we are using for Zepbound and Mounjaro. The quick pens that they were referring to on that call, and this is just a Google search for it, those were used in the UK and now across Europe. So they're saying they're adding more supply of blank and the quick pens. Demand will outpace this year. So expect a shortage throughout the year. People who are on compounds, that's good news for you. That means it's probably going to be on the FDA shortage list. It's saying that demand is going to outpace this year. They're looking into 2025 to have demand and supply come closer together. As an economist daughter, my dad would be very proud of me for talking supply and demand and with my hand graphs. That one's for you, Dad. It's going to go into next year, quite some time. They're offering different presentation utilization infrastructure. They're going to update investors as they progress. So here's what I found interesting also was those quick pens. This is kind of where I picked up, and our UK brothers and sisters and over in Europe already have these. So it looks like, again, that's the one that was right here. Let me click this off for you guys to see. The one that was right here, that one. That's what the quick pen looks like. Again, different variation on it. Was the quick pen is existing assets. They used the quick pen over in UK first because it was existing assets for less time lag. First in the UK, now in Europe, we'll continue to look at every opportunity as we care for obesity and overweight and diabetes categories. So 6 drugs in development, and we're going to get into pricing, and we're going to get on for my Medicare friends. If you are on Medicare or you have someone on Medicare, make sure that is also part of this conversation. You're going to want to stay tuned. I got a ton of information. I'm sure I'm going to be doing follow-ups on this video, so click that like and subscribe button. 6 obesity drugs in development. Y'all, this is where I got tingly wingly. I'm going to show you a slide from the investors presentation from Eli Lilly off of their website, setting my source there. I'm going to flash it up on the screen so you can see, and then I will also link it again down in the description link below as well. One second while I move my website capture so you guys can see. Look how many drugs are in the pipeline. Look how many drugs are in the pipeline. Now, I want to specifically, let's see if I can zoom in so you guys can see this. You can see over here, phase 3, and then in REG review. Look at that. Look at the tirzepatide, retatrutide, REG review. You can see it's Crohn's disease and Alzheimer's. That was very exciting to me as well to see. But here's in phase 3. You'll note that retatrutide has addition or milestones achieved. You can also see tirzepatide has obstructive sleep apnea is in phase 3. Tirzepatide heart failure, tirzepatide MMO. So you're like, what is a tirzepatide? That is, and I'm mispronouncing it. Forgive me, please. It's tirzepatide, not tirzepatide. So there's all of those phase 3. I mean, there's a ton of drugs in there, a ton of other approvals for tirzepatide. We're going to get it right, I promise, in the pronunciation. So there's areas, what the Eli Lilly said on the call was there's 6 obesity drugs in development. There's areas of opportunity for quality weight loss with tirzepatide with fat mass to improve patients' to lose weight on drugs will improve faster. So there's some of these avenues that they're looking at and they're studying, which I got so excited about, and hopefully you are too, that there's other areas here for us to get even better. If you are on Mounjaro and Zepbound or WEGOVY or semaglutide or tirzepatide, the tirzepatide compounds, this is an exciting time. We are at the genesis of GLP-1 medication, friends. And if you are stressed about that shortage, I want to encourage you to take a bird's eye view, come up about 5,000 feet and look down. Yes, the shortage stinks, and I agree with you. It's very stressful, and I've done other videos on the shortage of a step-by-step guide. Make sure you see that. It was like a video or 2 ago where I talked about a step-by-step guide of what I'm doing and why I continue to get my boxes of Zepbound. I think a lot of it's luck, but I have had actually some step-by-step guide actions to help you. When you look at these drugs in the pipeline, this is where it's exciting. Can they have fat mass improve weight loss on these drugs by improving with a muscle stimulating agent? How cool is that? Maybe, he says, the gentleman who was presenting, maybe it's under investigation. Tirzepatide not well tolerated with some people because of GI effects, meaning you got constipation, diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. And so people go off the medication because of that. They're looking into that avenue. They're looking into the avenue of taking a tirzepatide, meaning Zepbound or Mounjaro, once a week. So for Zepbound, for chronic obesity management, most patients find it acceptable, but is there a less frequent, lower burden manufacturing? It's lowering that burden of manufacturing. Instead of taking it once a week, can we take it, you know, I'm throwing this out. They didn't say this. I'm throwing this out to add context. Every other week, once a month, I don't know. That's what they're looking into. Another one is people are just not achieving results. I know some of you guys are slow responders. We have hyper responders and hypo responders. Hypo responders are slower to lose weight or really not at all. There's a category of people. It's not a moral failing. It's just they're not responding. And so they're looking into that to achieve another avenue. Different indications, different activities for other related disease and other avenues within that. And they said, Eli Lilly said, this is just the beginning of obesity and a multi-decade investment treating abnormal metabolism. They are very proud and blessed, and very proud, they didn't say blessed, very proud and pleased Lilly is the strongest pipeline in the industry, which I agree with. They are the strongest pipeline. Eli Lilly, call me. You know how badly I want to be sponsored by Eli Lilly? For viewers watching, please send my view. Please tell them if you have a connection at corporate. I would love to, love to work with them in their marketing department. Okay, so let's go back. Let's continue along. They're talking about the competitor of Zepbound, which is WEGOVY, which I know some of you have switched from Zepbound because of the Zepbound shortage to WEGOVY, but WEGOVY is under its own shortage. The maker is Novo Nordisk for WEGOVY. They're talking about how WEGOVY CMS for Zepbound, the sleep apnea covered for Medicare. This is where it got interesting. For my Medicare brothers and sisters out there, I know you're so frustrated because there was a law that was passed by our Congress in 2003 saying it would not cover obesity drugs, basically. It was in this umbrella, but that's what it doesn't cover obesity drugs, meaning you can't get chronic obesity management coverage for Zepbound or WEGOVY. However, WEGOVY is now FDA approved for heart disease, and Zepbound is in, and let me go back over to my, where they are in terms of their trials. Let me pull that, make sure I've got that information pulled up. There we go. Zepbound is in, oh, come on, friend. Hold on, let's make sure my friend's working here. Oh, you silly goose. I wanted to show you that pipeline. I think it's not going to now. It is being a silly goose. I want to give you guys the diagram so we can see. If I can't give you the diagram, there we go. So Zepbound is now in phase, not Zepbound, excuse me, tirzepatide. Tirzepatide is in phase 3 for obstructive sleep apnea. They know that this is going to get, they think, they don't know, they think, because the way it's progressing, let me use my words matter very much. It is in phase 3 for tirzepatide, meaning the active ingredient in Mounjaro and in Zepbound, tirzepatide, is phase 3 of getting FDA approval for sleep apnea. That's the ticket for my Medicare friends. That's the ticket for my Medicare friends, which is Part D. Tirzepatide Part D, sleep apnea and not a broad weight loss drug. Saying the question was about what are the other things that are not for just weight loss, and so that was the sleep apnea component of it. It is in phase 3. I know I'm talking quickly. If it's too fast for you, slow me down on your settings here on YouTube. You can slow me down to half speed. If it's too, I get excited and I talk quickly when I get very excited. Because this, for Medicare brothers and sisters with this Part D, the CMS is in early April of reimbursed comorbidity. New data came out a few weeks ago about this for reimbursed Medicare Part D to reduce Obesity Act. He said on the call, the gentleman said, reduce the Obesity Act for Medicare. I tried Googling if that was the specific law of what it was called in 2003 that was passed that blocks our government Medicare folks from getting anything obesity related for drugs. If it was called the Obesity Care Act for Medicare, if that's what it's called, I did not find that was a specific name, but there was the law that was in 2003 that was for Medicare of why you can't get it on Medicare. WEGOVY is FDA approved for heart disease for WEGOVY, and WEGOVY is for chronic obesity management, FDA approval as well. Zepbound, Mounjaro, is getting in that phase 3 for sleep apnea to get an FDA approval, which could be the link in for Medicare folks. So if you have sleep apnea and you're on Medicare, feasibly that could get covered, Zepbound, but I'm sure they would put it under another name because of the FDA approval, like how Mounjaro and Zepbound are different names, but the same thing. For sleep apnea, that's coming. That's in the pipeline of what I just showed you. And that slide to be, if you want to look at the slides from Eli Lilly of what I'm referencing, it was slide number 15 is that slide that I keep flashing up on the screen from the Q1 investors meeting today for Eli Lilly on April 30th. That was huge, 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 huge. Pricing, let's kick it over to that. In 2024, pricing for Mounjaro, they terminated the $25 savings card. Patients were grandfathered in until June 30th, 2024. So our brothers and sisters who got to pay $25 for their Mounjaro, hot dog, you have to pay $25 where the market value is over $1,000 for the box of 4 pens of those. People were paying $25 for the box of 4 pens. They're grandfathered in until June 30th. And then it says that's going to benefit Eli Lilly shareholders for the second half of the year. Let's go over phase 2 of SURMOUNT data in NASH, N-A-S-H. They kept saying NASH, so I'm assuming that's N-A-S-H. Forgive me if that acronym is not, but they were verbally saying NASH on the call. It was the opportunity for tirzepatide of the retatrutide target molecule to move forward. So retatrutide, if you guys saw in our where it is in the pipeline in terms of FDA approval, we can see, let me zoom in a little bit more. Retatrutide is for diabetes. It is in phase 3, which if it does get approved, my sources are saying 2025 potentially that could be coming out to the marketplace. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball on that, but it's in phase 3 potentially. It's it's not retra. It's retatrutide. I want to be factually accurate. I require that of myself. So forgive me for mispronouncing. It's not retra. It's retatrutide. They were saying in there that they're seeing in the trial, in the testing that they're doing, it's in phase 3, that it's helping with liver. So do you have liver issues in your family of origin or for you? That was one of my big things. That was my little note here. Liver. Liver. That's all I wrote. Liver. I'm so excited. I'm choking on my own saliva. So I thought that was interesting that it's showing really good results for folks as liver. So if you have liver issues or a family member has liver issues, this is why I'm saying we are at the genesis of GLP-1 medications. And yes, the shortage is annoying, but more importantly, and the cooler part about this is how it's helping so many other things. For WEGOVY, and this is not on the Eli Lilly investor call, but how it's 20% reduction in cardiovascular events for strokes, heart disease, heart attacks, things like that. And how for Zepbound Mounjaro for the tirzepatide, it's for sleep apnea. And then now how for retatrutide, it's for, they're showing, and they said this verbally, I don't believe it was in their literature on their presentation that they had. It was for liver. It's showing good results with that. Okay, let's keep going. We talked about pricing, price adjustment. So I thought that was interesting, going back over to the price adjustment for Mounjaro. I thought that was very interesting. It's going to benefit them later on. And I know many of you guys have tagged me in Bernie Sanders is pushing forward with pricing and things like that. And y'all, they've spent years of their own expense. And as a businesswoman, when you're putting money into something, there's an opportunity cost and an opportunity lost. You're putting that into something. In terms of pricing, I know some of you guys are like, it only costs X amount for the pen, but as a business person, they have put up all of this money that very well could have not have panned out, and it did. So anyways, there's pros and cons for both. I'm not giving my opinion on that. I'm just saying out some of the in terms of pricing, in terms of business people, it will be interesting to see how that progresses forward because of the innovations we have, because of capitalism, of what it is doing, which I'm fascinated by. It's changed my life. Literally, good gravy. It's changed my life. Now, let's go over to, I wanted to pull up in terms of, as a business person, this was from Eli Lilly's, oh shoot, I don't know if you guys can see that well. it will be linked down below, but it was for Q1 of 2024 worldwide. Mounjaro's revenue is 1.81 billion compared to 2023. US revenue was 1.52 billion compared with basically a $500,000 in realized prices due to the decreased utilizations of the savings card. They got rid of the savings card. So it literally what is that math wise? Almost 1.3 billion increased their revenue by dropping that savings card, as well as increased demand. The second half of 2024, these savings, looks like it's partially cut off, have been notable effect of realized comparisons in base periods. It expires. Oh, this is where they're saying that they're going to see more revenues are going to come in because the people who are on the grandfathered in are going to be off of being grandfathered in. Revenue outside of the US increased to 286 million in versus Q1 of 2023, driven by volume. So, okay, that did chop off part of that. And again, the slides will also be linked down below. I thought the numbers were fascinating to me. I mean, billions for 1 quarter, just 1 quarter. 1 quarter, and I'll be on this drug for the rest of my life or some form of GLP-1 medication. Found that fascinating. Let's talk about Zepbound. Zepbound for Q1 of 2024, US Zepbound revenue was 517.4 million. Similar to other Lilly endocrine medications, the volume growth was linked to available supply, meaning there's a big old stinking Zepbound shortage going on. Zepbound launched in the US for treatment of its patients. Oh, it's going into that. We already know that. It was launched on November 2023. So there we have it, my friends. Action items for you. Action, action, we want action. Let's go through. 1, if you are having the shortage affect you, I have done a step-by-step guide on this. I love Join Fridays. I'm obsessed with them. That is who I use as my telehealth company. They prescribe my brand names of Mounjaro and now Zepbound, and I will be moving to their compounds. All compound pharmacies are not created equal. If you are interested in going the compound pharmacy route, I'm afraid of the ones, this is just me, and I know many of you will disagree with me, but this is simply my opinion. Feel free to take or leave. I get concerned when I hear people who are taking compounds next to their grocery store. I have one next to my grocery store. In fact, it's next to the Starbucks I go to, the drive-through Starbucks. So I see it every time I go to Starbucks. They don't have to have a medical doctor in terms of this specific one. You don't know who's prescribing, you don't know. With those, that is where I get concerned for compounds. And that is where you hear these horror stories about, they're like, you don't know what's getting injected in compounds. Word, true. Who are there medical people who are on staff for those ones? Now, the reason why I switched over to Join Fridays is different is because they are, they're the telehealth company. To me, they're very reputable. You do your own due diligence, babes. This is simply my opinion. I'm not a healthcare provider. Take or leave my opinion. Who am I? I'm just someone on, you know what I mean? Like, I've had success with a drug and have good instincts, but I do want you to do your own diligent research. But their compound pharmacies, they work with different ones depending on where you live in the United States. You could get them from different compound pharmacies. I will be going the compound pharmacy route, I'm sure, if I can't get my Zepbound box this upcoming month. I have been able to, the past 2 months, get my Zepbound box with relatively no issues. Check my step-by-step guide as to how I did that, which was another video on there. But if you choose to go with Join Fridays and choose to use their compounds as a alternative, you can use the discount code QUEEN. Again, do your own research. For me, I trust them. For my body, I trust them. And that's the route I'm going because I know the protocol in place for it. And that for me is comforting. What would not be comforting would be going next to my local grocery store and that is where Eli Lilly sued a bunch of those, where you heard about people getting sued. My understanding of it was some of those next to my Starbucks, of where it's this company that popped out of nowhere and they do like IV bag distribution and stuff, which is a whole nother thing because someone recently just died from giving one of those IV bags, but that's a subject for another day. So I was looking into it. My husband's like, you may want to reevaluate that. Like, oh, I want to get one of those IV bags. They sound so fabulous. And he started showing me stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. But great call today. That gives us some action step. And truly what I would love for you to take, well, I'll share what I am taking away is I have so much hope and excitement of, yes, temporarily into the next year, into 2025, we're going to continue to see Zepbound shortages and Mounjaro shortages. For compound folks, you can take a compound, there's a shortage going on. And so it's on the FDA shortage list, meaning there's compounds available. So that's kind of the pro of it. That's why compounds are available, is because of shortages. So we're seeing unprecedented demand. Eli Lilly is amazing. I love listening to that call. If you've not joined free resources, these are all linked down in the description link below. If you've not gotten my free Zepbound meal plan, I bought it for $500 from a dietitian, not a nutritionist, but a dietitian. She has her master's degree in nutrition, brilliant woman. And it's a week long. I created it so I could give it, I bought it for $500 so I could give it away to you for free. The whole entire, I wanted to own and retain the licensing rights on that. So that is linked down in the description link below for you as a free resource, a free shopping guide with it. And then also there's a ton of protein recipes that are easy. You guys know, don't pole vault over a mouse turd, honey. I want it easy peasy lemon squeezy. If you've not clicked subscribe and like, make sure you do. And we do a little thing here at Countess of Shopping. We do an emoji, and it helps me to get to know you better, because I do truly care. There's one of you, there's one of me and thousands of you, and I want to know you. I do this because I care. Point blank. That's why I'm doing this whole thing, and why I've had over 200 plus videos that you can binge watch here on YouTube. I know many of you get listen to them while you're doing your house chores or walking or working out or whatever. Today's emoji is going to be a pen or a pencil. Two, one, it'll help me to know you better. Two, I'll pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, I'll uplift you in positive thought. Put a pen emoji, and that tells me you made it this far in the video, which means you may like my content. And if you don't like my content, that's cool too. That's cool as well. But and then our action item, we always talk about action items at the end of our videos. What are you doing today to move you closer to your goal? Tell me down below. I want to help hold you accountable. For me, I've already walked 2 miles today. After this, I'm going to go do my wall Pilates. I already had my electrolytes. If you do want to see my Mounjaro and Zepbound supplements list, I am obsessed with. First and foremost, last night I had to take my sleep breakthrough. Use the discount code QUEEN if you're interested in those. Those are also linked in the description link below. I used it last night, had a little bit of anxiety and wasn't able to sleep well. All right, after I took it, about 20 minutes later, I had Disney princess sleep. I'm obsessed with this type of magnesium. It's very much helped me. And of course, my protein shakes are down below as well. They're specifically made for people on semaglutides and tirzepatide. And then of course, my electrolytes. I only use LMNT, and I have for the last almost 16 months, because they're the best. In my opinion, they're the best. Olympic athletes use them. So I was like, if they're good enough for Olympic athletes, they're good enough for me. So use that discount code QUEEN for those supplements. And I do also have my Amazon shopping list for Mounjaro and Zepbound too. So sweet friends, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings, because life is delicious. Always talk to your own healthcare provider. This is never medical advice, simply my own experience, strength, and hope. And see you guys in the free group. We'll have more discussions on it.